The nature of the Bath rental market in July 2023 was very much dependent on the kind of property it was that you were looking to let. And it's the discrepancy between those two different markets that have emerged that I really want to focus on in this month's roundup. So let's begin by looking at the amount of time it took to let a property during July 2023. Now for flats, they were flying off the shelves, as we've become accustomed to. On average, it took just 6.9 days between the apartment coming onto the market and the landlord accepting an offer from a tenant. But for houses, it was a very different picture. On average, it was taking us 33.8 days to agree a let. So much longer to secure a tenant for a house than an apartment. Let's move on now to the rents that we were achieving. Well, on average, this was very similar between both kinds of properties. For flats, again, we've become used to this in recent months. We're talking 100% of the advertised rent. We really aren't used to doing negotiations these days because of the amount of competition for apartments. Houses actually was very similar. On average, we were getting 99.5% of the advertised rent, so all but 100%. So although landlords were having to be more patient to find tenants for houses, they were still achieving good rents. In terms of the actual rents achieved, let's look at average rent increases from the last time we let the property to this time around. So during July, if you are letting out a flat, as a landlord, on average, you could expect a rental increase of 14.3%, an extremely healthy and impressive uplift in rent there. Houses, again, it was a much different picture, but I'm pleased to say that those landlords were still experiencing rent increases, but on average it was around 4.5%. So we're seeing this picture emerge where we got two different paced markets. Flats, extremely fast-paced, high demand, letting very quickly at very good rents with large rent increases. With houses, it's taking a lot longer to find tenants. We're still achieving good rents, and rents have edged up over the last 12 to 24 months. But as a landlord, if you have a family house going on the market, I hope that this will help to just manage and set your expectations. Why is this happening? Why is there two different markets for these two different kinds of properties? Well, it all comes down to tenant demand. We are seeing a huge amount of demand and interest to rent smaller properties than we are for the larger ones. Now, we have very strong demand from tenants. In July, we registered 31% more new applicants being tenants looking for a new home, than we did in June. And in fact, we also registered 151% more applicants in July than we did in July 2022. So there are a lot of people currently looking to rent property. But the question is, how many of those are looking for flats versus looking for houses? Well, I went through every single one of the applicants that we registered in July, and out of all of those applicants, only 14% of them were moving with children. So that gives you an idea of the amount of people who are looking for family homes. Now, of those 14%, there also would have been a percentage of those who were either moving with very small children or perhaps were single parents with one child who were therefore looking for smaller properties who may have fallen into the flat category. So at the very most, 14% of our applicants are currently looking to rent houses. And that is why there is this split in the market between houses and flats, and why they are performing differently on the market, because there is very different levels of demand for those two different types of properties. And just to finish off with, to give you an overview of the current market here in Bath, I found this very interesting. Right now, today, as I'm recording this, on Rightmove, 62% of the available properties here in Bath are houses, which I think is highly unusual, and that is excluding student properties. So I've taken student houses and flats out of the equation, and of the remaining properties, which are largely aimed at professionals, 62% of the current available stock in Bath are houses. Just to break that down for you, at the moment to rent in Bath, 56 houses, 33 flats. So you can see that these houses are sitting on the market. There are not an overwhelming amount of tenants looking for them, so it is therefore taking longer for them to let. That's it for this month's roundup. I hope you found that interesting. If you have a flat or a house to let, please do get in contact, because as you've seen, it's not just a question of putting your property on the market. You need to know the market and have an active plan to find the right tenant for you that takes into account everything that I've just been through. That's it for now. I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.